We once again return to our dinosaur friends with a Jurassic World film, this time Jurassic World Rebirth, which is the seventh film in the franchise.
Not another one? Oh, for God's sake, I can't stand this.
With Jurassic World Rebirth, we have director Gareth Edwards at the helm, who's recently done films like The Creator and also Rogue One, and he's a very immersive director. He knows how to show scale on screen, which is great for something like this, where you have these big dinosaurs, but he's someone who can build you a stadium, but he's not someone you want to watch perform a show there. And what I mean by that is that he can do all that, but the story sometimes does lack in his films, and things can come across as quite bland and a bit dull, actually, at times.
It's boring. You're boring everybody. Quit boring everyone.
In this film, you do have those stereotypical characters, like Jonathan Bailey plays a science guy, then you have Rupert Friend, he plays a business guy, and so on. Scarlett Johansson plays a mercenary who's there for the money. It's big money here to get the blood from these dinosaurs, which are on this island, the only place that they're currently living, and they need to get these blood samples from a living dinosaur. They need to get 3 of them, and this will hopefully help cure heart disease. That is basically the plot of the movie. Get these blood samples and get out. But we have these characters, Scarlett Johansson, Jonathan Bailey, Rupert Friend, and Mahershala Ali comes into it as well. The people you've seen in the trailer and on the poster and that. But then you have this family who come into it as well. They're on a boat in the sea close to this island. I don't know why they're there anyway, but anyway, they're there. And you got this dad with his 2 daughters. The oldest daughter has a boyfriend, and he's a complete dickhead, basically. And they get involved as well in the story, but then they break off as well. So you having to follow these 2 different groups. So everything here is all very surface level because we've got 2 hours here, and we're following these 2 different groups. And you learn a little bit about them with a few conversations, but it is mostly through talking. And the action scenes, they do get quite intense at times, sort of edge of your seat, but it's mainly just from the action itself and from these characters where you do feel for them, but you're not really feeling them from the heart. Like you're just watching someone take on a mission. You're not really with them on the mission, if you know what I mean. You don't really feel that connection properly. But it do develop the characters. I'll give the film that. But I thought the way they're developing the characters would get a different conclusion with them. If I'm trying not to spoil anything here, but I just thought it was going to lead to something, but instead it doesn't lead to anything. And so by the end of it, I'm like, well, we never got a payoff for that. We never got a payoff for that. Why are they there? Fall damage, that's not a thing here.
Bollocks. 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 Bollocks.
Something that I was looking forward to with Jurassic World Rebirth was the fact it was going to lean more into the horror side of things, like we saw in the original Jurassic Park. And even in the opening sequence, it definitely does that. It definitely gives you a taste of what's to come. And there are a few points throughout the film where I feel like younger viewers might get a bit frightened, which is fantastic because they don't need to be wrapped in bubble wrap. Like I remember when I was a kid, I used to enjoy having a scene or two which actually frightened me. So I was very happy to see it went in that direction quite a few times. But the problem is we have that great opening scene, but then we then have to do all the building up of the characters, setting the scene with them. And it takes a bit too long. And at one point, they're recruiting Jonathan Bailey's character, and he's just eating some mince for a second, and he's like, I don't care. Just hurry up and eat the mince. It's not funny. I don't know. It's not making me laugh. I don't know what's going on. It's supposed to be a humorous moment, but you're supposed to be like, this is where we're supposed to laugh. I'm like, just eat the mince and get the hell out of there. Anyway, so yeah, we got that, and it took a little bit of time. And then it takes a while actually to get to the island. There's an action scene with some dinosaurs in the water. But I was surprised how long it took to actually get to the island. It felt like we were taking ages. But that is also because we have this family to focus on as well. And the family I mentioned earlier, but I think the family feel like they've been pushed in there from the studio because it's like we need kids involved as characters in the film for these Jurassic movies. And we need a character like a young girl who can befriend a little baby dinosaur because that will do well on social media. That will sell the merch. This felt like a really studio-driven decision for me. I don't know if it was. I'm not sure on that, but this film just felt like it has been, loosely stitched together, to get these opportunities for social media virality. Of course, with a Jurassic film, the big attraction is the dinosaurs. As a kid, I used to love playing my dinosaurs, and now we have some interesting mutations with this film of some well-known dinosaurs, and some of them look pretty good. Others look like they haven't been rendered enough for some reason. I don't know. This felt like a bit too smooth, and it just feels like they need a bit more, detail on them. I didn't really like the monster dinosaur at the end, who's been teased in the trailers. Looks just too much like a Rancor from Star Wars, and I'd rather just have a more of a dinosaur-looking thing. I don't mind mutations, but I'm kind of getting a bit sick of them at the same time. But yeah, so there were some good action scenes here. I will say that there were some decent action scenes. I think that the film has enough of them, but they do also go into things we've seen before. Like, you can predict how things might end up. Like, oh, I bet that happens. Oh, it does. And for a film like Jurassic World Rebirth, which I thought was supposed to be more like a bit of a, a bit of a reboot of the series in a way. Now we're moving away from Chris Pratt's character and all that lot. I thought they might do something a bit different, but instead they're sort of paying homage to Steven Spielberg as well. So it's like it's like they're doing that, but then also trying to bring a new chapter into this Jurassic universe, and they don't really mix well, do they? So I'd say the dinosaurs overall were a bit disappointing. However, the music was very good that goes alongside these scenes. We have the iconic John Williams theme in there, but the score is from Alexander Desplat, who's done some great scores in the past as well. So there is that, that's added to these scenes that does make them all feel a bit more epic. Scarlett Johansson and the rest of the cast put in a decent job, but with her and with Mahershala Ali as well, like, they just felt really underused because they didn't have enough time, because we had this other group with the family as well. And for a film like Jurassic World Rebirth, which is leaning more into the horror element, you really want a smaller cast, because then you can feel closer to them. You can feel, tension rise a bit more as they're going through this island, and you're not sure where the next dinosaur is coming from next. But we don't really get that. And if we do get points of that, we're then jumping straight to the family group or whatever. We're going back and forth. And I always thought that, like, for example, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, that sort of setting, but with dinosaurs, could be really cool. And I thought this film was going in that direction, but unfortunately it didn't. But it did show signs of that. And I do think that means that this film will have its fans. Like, I think pretty much all of them do. Maybe not Dominion, because, yeah. But yeah, I think most Jurassic films, they do have a little fan base with them anyway, because they will hit a certain point for some people. But I think for me, this one would probably have to go, above Dominion, and it'd be above Fallen Kingdom, but I don't think I can put it any higher than the other four, really. It's a great one-time watch film, which for a Jurassic film, especially considering it needs to make billions of dollars at the box office, isn't great. That's not what Universal want to hear. They want to hear you want to go back and watch it multiple times. Overall, with Jurassic World Rebirth, it's a film where it's a bit like a Sunday afternoon drive, where it goes at a gradual pace. You've seen a lot of this before. It's all a bit cliche and can get a bit boring. It's from writer David Koepp, who did help Michael Crichton write the screenplay for Jurassic Park, and also he worked on the second film as well. But, this film is about them getting the blood from these dinosaurs. It's not very inspired, I don't think. And we also got to remember that David Koepp did also write Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, so there is that to consider. So yeah, not one of the best Jurassic films, but not the worst at the same time. But I think after watching this film, the best part of my experience was actually watching one of the trailers beforehand, which was for Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. That is only a little short trailer, but that's how I like to see trailers. They should do more of that, where they release a trailer in the cinemas first, so people who go to the cinema regularly, like me, can watch the trailers for the first time on the big screen. That was a really cool little clip they showed there. But yeah, for Jurassic World Rebirth, I wouldn't really recommend it unless you're a big Jurassic fan in the cinemas, but maybe watch it at some point when it comes on home viewing, whether that be physical or on streaming on demand or whatever else. But yeah, what are your thoughts if you've seen Jurassic World Rebirth? Let me know those in the comments down below. Like if you enjoyed it as well. Subscribe for more. And also, if you want to see my rankings of the other 6 Jurassic films, that's on screen right now, as well as another video that YouTube are recommending for you.